Hey everyone, welcome into the Scoreboard. I'm your host, Blake O'Rulian. We have an exciting show for you today. We'll get a preview of Battle Mountain Volleyball. We take a trip to High Gear Cyclery, and we get a preview of our sister show, Scoreboard Nation. But up first, Maddie Evans takes us to High Gear Cyclery in Avon. Let's take a look.
Bike season is finally here, and it's really important that you maintain your gear, and what better way to do so than with the experts from High Gear Cyclery. We've got the owner, Paul. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, Maddie. Thanks for coming over.
Thanks for taking some time, walking us through some bikes. I'm not an avid biker. I'm lucky if I can stay upright on the bike, but I know there's a lot of pieces that are really important to take care of.
Yeah, especially now that we're in season, full on, full swing. A lot of trails are opening up. The bikes that haven't been in for their preseason tune since, late March could use a little bit of upkeep and just some stuff that people should keep an eye on so that they're not going too far with the wear life on their gear.
Which I just talked to my dad. He's an avid biker. He's had a Cannondale bike for 20 plus years, and he says that the secret to keeping it in such good shape is making sure it's well maintained all the time.
Yeah, and there's just a couple simple things that you can do to do that a lot of people overlook or overdo sometimes that kind of causes not the best scenario for them.
All right, so we've got a bike in front of us that needs a little TLC. Is this your personal bike?
It is, yeah. That's why it always needs TLC. Too busy working on everyone else's.
Well, and it's a little bit dirty, so there's some things that we're going to go over on this bike just that people know, and if they can't do them at home themselves, they can always bring them into you as well.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Which is perfect. So let's start with this tire, only because I'm noticing a fun little friend in it.
Oh, yeah. So, there's a lot of things you can do preseason to keep your bike rolling well. One of the things is update your sealant right off the bat. Tubeless tires have sealant in them. It will help with, problems like that guy, that, you get something in your tire. Maybe not a screw on the mountain bike trail, but certainly on the road can happen. That will help seal that. And then there are also some other tools and accessories that can help keep you rolling if something like that does happen to your tire.
And can we just talk really quickly, what's the difference between tubeless and tube when you're out there on the trail? I know obviously the difference is there's a tube in one, there's not a tube in the other, but for convenience sake, if you're out there and you have a tubed tire, it's going to take a minute to change it.
It's going to take a minute to change it. You have to get the wheel off, you have to get the tire off, replace the tube that's in there that ended up going flat for whatever reason. Where a tubeless tire, small punctures can be sealed just by the sealant that's in there. Again, another maintenance thing if you keep up on that. Or there are tire plugs that you can plug the tire with. So this one you can see is holding pretty well, but that screw is going to come out eventually, and then you're going to have a problem on your hands that you need to address, and I'll show you how to deal with that.
All right, let's do this. That nail in there, screw in there is looking pretty not great, and it's going to be a bummer when you pull that out and it goes
Yeah, so that's what we're going to do is we're going to pop that guy out, get a plug in there, and get that nice and repaired.
All right, let's do this. Let's see how the expert works in this space.
Yeah, we'll do. And you're going to hear this guy. So we've got a pretty good leak, obviously, there. You're going to put your finger over that to seal it up while you get your tools out. And then it's literally just as simple as pop that in, add a little bit of air from your hand pump, and you are back on the trail.
And you can just ride with that sticking out because it'll smooth over in its own time.
You'll trim it down eventually, but you can certainly ride out like that. And you can ride until the rest of the tire wears out. There's no reason to replace this tire just because that plug's in there.
Which bike tires are like car tires. One, they're hard to get a hold of right now, and two, they're not very cheap.
No, premium mountain bike tire, you're looking anywhere like 85 to 110 for a tire. So, something little like that, it's good to be able to keep it rolling and not have to buy a new tire all the time.
Right. No one wants to just buy new tires. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. No, I agree.
All right, so then moving on, as we're taking a look, you've got a whole lot of chains, brakes, all of it. It's really important that people are maintaining that, especially before they're getting out on the trail, just because some of those single track trails are tight. And if you're having bike issues on the trail and there are other people coming, not only is it a concern for yourself, but people riding as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Just making sure your bike is running well so you have the best time out there and get everything going. One of the common things that I do see a lot around town is people will either not lube their chain at all, and it'll look a lot like this one does here, or they will over lube their chain, which is a thing, and then if you have too much lube on the chain, then you're just going to be attracting dirt, creating a giant mess, as well as that dirt is going to be grit that will help prematurely wear out your drivetrain as well. So I'm just going to show you how to give the chain a quick clean, real simple. Everybody can do this at home, and then how to just lube the chain correctly without over lubing the system.
I like that you kept your bike nice and dirty for us.
Just
that
for
way,
you guys.
that way, when you came to do all of this, it went from like kind of dirty shape to it's gonna be brand new.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
All right, let's do this.
Feeling great.
All right, so now we're gonna take the time. We're gonna clean this up nice and pretty. The bike needs a solid hose down as well. Do you have a hose? Maybe
We'll get to that
All
later.
right, all right. We'll get to that part. But now we're gonna do the chain, which this is really important because this is what's gonna keep that bike pedaling, and you don't want any resistance while you're up there pedaling uphill.
Yeah, and it keeps it quiet because it's really annoying to be climbing up the hill, out in the peace and quiet in the wilderness, and then your chain squeaking the whole way. So nobody really wants that either.
That's like a solid indicator, right? That
Yes.
maybe it's time you
Correct.
clean your bike.
Yeah, so pretty much everybody has, a rag at home, some sort of solvent. Just essentially spray a little on the rag to get the chain wiped off and clean. Just run it through the rag. Don't need to do a heavy degreaser or anything too serious like that for just your typical, day-to-day lubing. What you're really trying to do is get all the loose dirt off of there. So as you can see, it's looking a bit better already. And then quick wipe to get whatever solvent or cleaner you used off of there. And then really the key is to not over lube. So the bottles we have in the shop have a little applicator on them. Not everybody's going to have that at home, but just to be very cognizant of not putting too much lube on. So it is about 1 drop per roller. So you can see we're not going too heavy there.
And you got to keep track of the chain, so it makes it nice and easy that you've cleaned it off. That way you can kind of see where everything's being placed, and you can see the gears even getting that nice fresh coating on them, which is just going to make everything operate better, correct?
Totally. Yeah, just keeping everything clean and happy, especially in the drivetrain, is really key. So got it lubed, turn the crank a little bit, just kind of spin, let it work its way in, and then this is the key step that most people will miss or forget when they have too much lube on their chain, is to wipe off the excess. So take that rag you started with, and then you're literally just going to do the same thing that you did with the cleaner on there, wiping off the excess. And you can see just a little bit of excess on there. And now that chain should be good to go for, at least a couple more rides, and nice and quiet and rolling smooth.
Which then allows you to enjoy the peace and quiet a little bit more. And something that's really important about this is when that dirt gets in there, it can ruin everything.
Oh yeah, it can ruin your chain, your cassette, and your chainring. And on a modern mountain bike, those are not cheap components to replace. So yeah, just a good thing to keep up on that everybody can do at home.
Which is really important. Now, the next thing we're talking about, this is something that's really important in your cars and in your bikes, because everyone likes to come to a stop when time is needed. And so people don't necessarily know that there are brake pads on bikes that you need to maintain like cars.
Yeah, I actually had a friend that she just burned all the way through her brake pads and her rotor, and it was one of those I knew I should have taken a last run. So you just want to listen to how your brakes are functioning, kind of what they sound like, what they feel like. If they feel like they're grinding more, certainly a symptom that you want to kind of address and look at the caliper. And a lot of the simple stuff that, with a little flashlight and just inspecting your gear, you can take a look at it and just look into the top of the brake. Almost every modern mountain bike you can look into. If you have any questions on that, or you're curious, take it to the bike shop. That's what we're here for. We're happy to answer questions like that. We'd rather help you keep your gear rolling than replace everything all the time because you let it go too far.
Right, and it's kind of hard to get your hands on bike parts right now, and so it's better to be it's better to be on top of it than to let these things go. And so can you show us kind of where people can take a look at their brake pads, maybe if they don't know?
Absolutely. So I'm going to swing over here. So, you've got your brake rotor, your brake caliper, and your pads are these little guys that you can just kind of see in the top here that just move a little bit. When you're pulling the brake lever, you'll see them move as well. You can just look straight down in there and take a look at those if they seem like they're off center in there for any reason, or if they just seem like, one of them's more worn out. Or obviously if you see anything shiny or any shards or, metal flakes coming out, that's a solid indicator that you're going to want to address that. But just simple stuff, everybody that's out there can just take a look at their gear. If it seems wrong, it probably is. You can just come on in and get you sorted out.
So Paul, if people are interested in maybe now getting into the sport of mountain biking, now that the summer is here and people can get out there and really enjoy all of the trails, do you have any tips for them, for the novice who maybe want to start?
Get out on a good demo bike, find some good friends to ride with. There's a lot of trails that are really attainable to all ability levels in Eagle County. Just don't go out with somebody that's going to, kind of torture you a little on the trail and throw you right into the deep end and take you right on a black diamond. Take your time, have a good time out there. The uphill is always pretty much the worst, so be ready for that, and you'll enjoy the downhill that much more.
And if people are interested in maybe coming in and chatting with you about some bike issues that they have, where are you located and what are your hours?
We are located right here in Avon, right behind Pazzo's Pizzeria, next to Little Joe's. Everybody drives right by us through the roundabouts. And we are 10 to 6 Tuesday through Friday, 10 to 5 on Saturday. Unfortunately, closed Sunday and Monday right now.
I mean, that's nice. You need to get out there and enjoy.
It is kind of nice.
You need to get out there and enjoy your bike. Paul, thank you so much for giving
thanks for coming over.
all of us this great information this morning and walking us through how to maintain your bike.
Yeah, thank you, of course.
Make sure that you come over to High Gear Cyclery, you get your bike looked at, and you're taking proper care of it because you want that very nice piece of equipment to last a long time. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we've got more of the show.
Welcome back to the Scoreboard. I'm your host, Blake O'Rulian. We are getting geared up for high school sports coming up in just a couple months here in the fall. Our own Maddie Evans actually had the chance to catch up with Battle Mountain volleyball coach Shelby Cromer to get her thoughts on the upcoming season.
We all know and love our local athletes here, and especially the young ones. Battle Mountain High School has some great competitive sports, and one of them being volleyball. And now we've got the head coach sitting down with us to kind of give us a preview of the season. Shelby Cromer, good morning, Shelby.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming in and chatting with us.
For sure, absolutely, anytime.
And you guys had kind of a crazy season last year. So let's talk a little bit about some of the challenges that you faced in last season.
Yeah, I think last season, the year of 2021, just kind of coming through and making sports happen for the young athletes locally post the pandemic or during the midst of it was a real challenge in general. Just keeping them engaged was really important. But over the course of that 2021 year, we had a fall season that was postponed to spring, and then a 6-week break. Then we had another fall season. So I think that was really taxing on the athletes overall. And so just bringing that weight of, you know, what they were in the midst of and going through fell into the challenges for them overall, just as far as being kids in this crazy world right now.
Which, I mean, I can only imagine, right? Like taking so much time off, a full year, like competing in any sports for 2020 was difficult and had its own challenges. And if you were competing in sports, they were like individual sports, like ski racing.
Sure.
Or something where you weren't in kind of an enclosed space, close to each other, like really working hard. And so to bring all of the girls who had played for years before back and make them engage again was probably, I'm sure, very difficult.
Right, and I mean they're going through all these changes and shifts in schedules and how they're going to compete, and it was more than just, you know, postponing a season for them. It was so many other avenues of having to navigate that, which I really respect and admire any kid that's still, you know, trucking and doing things that they love, because it took a lot for them to kind of grow in that resilience in that space.
And so overall in the season, how did you guys play out with like the competition, as well as just not only like facing these challenges kind of directly, but then facing the challenges of the competition?
Yeah, I think partially, you know, we didn't have, if we're speaking to the record itself, right, we didn't have the record we'd hoped for last season. And that came with a lot of pieces of the growth that we were going throughout just the course of changing leadership. And anytime there's a change in leadership, there's definitely some challenges that come with, you know, adjusting as a person a part of that leadership and a team a part of that and under that. So we had challenges there. We didn't quite get the record we wanted to through a lot of those changes. We had phenomenal athletes but couldn't quite get out of certain examples of serve receive, right? So if we're talking to the sport specifically, we got stuck in some serve receive issues with other teams. Eagle Valley had incredible serving last year, and I'm sure they're going to come in hot this season with it as well. And so that's going to be a huge focus of ours, is just being able to hold our steadiness when we're working through a serve-receive situation. And if we are getting stuck in a rut, that we can maintain a healthy mindset and push forward and get back to the skills that we know that we have. And some other competitive teams in the league really showed up last year as well through all those incredibly hard times, you know, through the pandemic, et cetera, and showed us a really good time. So although we didn't have the record we wanted, I think our team and our program grew a whole lot. And so we're excited to kind of see how we show up again this year.
And you guys, going into this coming season, have lost 7 seniors, which is a pretty large number, but you still have a big turnout of kids that want to play and are very into the sport.
Right. We absolutely lost an incredible class, right? We had 7 seniors. They were phenomenal young women and are off doing incredible things now. And we'll definitely miss them and their skills and their, everything that they brought to the program. But at the same time, each year you're so sad to lose them, but you also look forward to those that are growing up into those roles of whether it's leadership on the team, in the sense of leading the team in the morale, or it's on the court. And so I'm really excited to see how these young girls grow up in this next season and this next year of school for themselves, and how they can show leadership and show up to the game.
Which is always really fun, and it's really fun to kind of see kids grow into that athletic role,
right?
And the diversity that comes with it. I have identical twin brothers. They're 11, and one of them is like, soccer is my life, and the other one's like, I'm gonna shadow hop while we play this game because like I don't care.
Sure.
But it's brought so much personality out within each kid, and then it shows that motivation that they have. And so as the coach, you get to be right there, you get to be hands-on, and you get to see kind of these changes, and especially these athletic changes that these girls are going through at this age in their life, where changes are just like happening like hot fire.
Right. And I love that aspect of coaching, that I'm with them in there every single day. Starting here in July, we're going to have, full, we're going to get fully into this preseason aspect. And then moving into August, September, October, and a portion of November, I'm with them every single day for at least 2 to 10 hours, depending if we're at a tournament, right? And so I'm in the thick of it with them, but they're also in the thick of life with me. And so we get to share in that season, which is really special for me to kind of get to see the ins and outs of each time that, they're going through something in school or with their friends or relationships and family lives. And just to be a part of that makes me feel really connected to them, the team, and just the community overall.
Which is something that's so incredible, because the difference that you personally get to make in this group of, I think you said 40 girls?
Yeah, or so.
40 or so girls. That's a lot
Yeah.
of people to know, and a lot of people to spend time with and like be there for them. And that's the coach's role, is not only are you there on the court, but you're also there when they just need a friend.
Right. Yeah, I think that balance is really important for the coaches, and a portion of why I'm so particular about my coaching staff. I have a phenomenal coaching staff, and I can't brag enough about them, and we're hoping to bring on another coach this year as well. And in the process of searching for that new person and coach to fill this space for the girls, I do love and know the girls quite well and many of their families, and I have that protective spirit over them because it is meaningful and it is impactful for their lives. And so who I choose to be in front of them, around them, and guiding that space, I think is really particular for me. But our current staff is incredible. We have awesome volunteers too that show a space and can be there for the girls as well in the sport, in the game, and just in life. So I've really enjoyed kind of being able to kind of navigate that with my coaches too and share in that experience.
Which is such an incredible experience. So now we're talking preseason. What are some of the things that you're really excited for in this upcoming season? And then what are the things that you're like kind of a little bit nervous for?
Yeah, I think the portions of nervousness come from, okay, where were our weaknesses last year, or in the season, in the games, whether it was small moments in between points where you get that time to recollect yourself. Is it that where we need, to focus on, or is it the big overall, like, how do we finish a set, or how do we put a cap on when we're capitalizing on, being ahead in a game? And so I think from the small moments to the huge moments of that experience in the sport, we're looking at where were those weaknesses. And I think the nervousness comes from how can we build that, and how can we say, when we're losing our marbles a little bit because we're down a few points and we're in a rut in serve receive, how can we recollect, call a timeout, do what we need to do on the court and off the court to get ourselves into a place that we want to be in the game? And so how do we turn that story around in our favor is a huge portion of what we're focusing on now in preseason. And those nervousness will hopefully wane. And one thing we talk about a lot in the performance with the girls is to try to perceive, like, I'm not nervous, I'm excited, right? It means something to me if I have nervousness together with it. So we try to train them in changing that mindset so that they can be in a better place mentally with the game and enjoy it more, right? So also looking forward to a lot of great things. I think just looking forward to being with them again, being in the fall sport environment is always exhilarating as we get, excited for the school season, excited for the school year. And there's a lot of newness that comes with that and just a new team. So every year it's new in a lot of ways. And looking forward to that newness. We've got incredible athletes also that are showing up and I'm always excited kind of coming back into preseason because they've been working all off season. And we've had this full off season this year that we didn't have the privilege of having last year. And so they're going to have very different looks on and off the court. And I'm really excited to kind of see what they look like, see how they perform, see how they interact and how they've developed even as younger or growing young women. And so I'm looking forward to a lot of really exciting pieces.
It's really exciting to hear it, and it's exciting to hear the passion that you have for it in your voice as we approach, only because this isn't a small role that you take on. And like we said, you're taking on not only being the coach, but being that person that they need, and then not only bringing that to the thing, but you're teaching them valuable lessons. Taking that shift from I'm nervous to I'm excited is something that's going to stick with them for the rest of their lives.
Sure, yeah, and I'm definitely hopeful that the process overall for them is a growing experience. Obviously, the sport is so fun, and that's why we come together, and I think that's where you meet kids in a sport, and then you can have that connection in a special way that you can't always in other avenues of their lives. Like, not every kid who comes to school loves school, so sometimes it's harder to connect in different spaces. But yeah, hopefully they kind of come out of the Battle Mountain volleyball experience and they can say, I've learned the difference in the value of time and place appropriateness, or I've learned that when I'm nervous, I'm actually really excited. Things like that we just focus on and bring up because it's pertinent now and it'll be pertinent in life later. And so we're hopeful that, they go with lessons from this program.
And with kind of preseason coming, when is the first tournament or game that you guys actually have?
So we're going to look at showing up. Mike Garvey is going to put together some opportunities at Eagle Valley, and he's going to bring a couple of teams and just have a come play, and let's just see how much round robin we can get together. That's going to be pretty soon. We're only able to take 2 levels because kids are out of town and different things for the summer, right? We want to respect that time. So July 9th, I believe, we're going to take a group out there, and we're just kind of getting that communication out now. Just go over to Eagle Valley and just see how people have grown and see how the team is going to develop. So that's going to be our first kind of rough start, and then we're going to move into having we've got Little Huskies camp later this summer, which we bring grades 6th to 9th grade incoming kids. We just teach them some of those really fun skills of the game, and then we're going to move into CSU camp. That's going to be awesome for our girls. That's a big portion of our summer. And then moving into the season, we've got stuff right off the bat in August. So it's a quick start for them as soon as school gets going.
Which is so crazy to think about. It's so crazy to have that ongoing motion and right starting in the middle of the summer. You guys are kind of boots on the ground running, and so it's exciting, and what you guys do is exciting, and we're excited to see how the season plays out.
Yeah, thank you. We're going to be really ready to get back in there and get trained.
Shelby, thank you so much for taking the time to come chat with us.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
Make sure that you follow along with the girls' Battle Mountain volleyball team, only because they've got incredible athletes, and she's an absolutely incredible coach. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we've got more of the show.
Welcome back to the Scoreboard. Our focus on this show is high school and recreational sports, but have you checked out our adventure series, Scoreboard Nation? Let's take a quick peek at one of the adventures you may have missed. We are headed out to Eagle Falls Trail in Reno, Tahoe.
Welcome to another edition of Exploring Our Backyard, presented by Sprad's RV. I'm Kirsten Moran, and today we are taking you on Eagle Falls Trail, where the whole family can enjoy, and including your furry little friends. Today I'm bringing my pup along with me, Charles, as we take you on an adventure. Let's go. We haven't even been hiking that long yet, and if you stay on the trail to the left, you'll see this beauty on your way up. Wow, look at this view. We finally made it to Eagle Lake. A short hike, not too difficult, easy enough for the whole entire family, including your furry little friends. It's time for Charles to enjoy the water. Let's just see how cold this actually is. Okay, it's not too bad. If you're looking for a hike that the whole family can enjoy, Eagle Falls Trail is the hike for you. It's only a mile up if you're going straight to the top, but if you want a longer hike, you could loop around the entire lake for about 2 miles. Thank you for joining me on Exploring Our Backyard, presented by Sprad's RV. We'll see you next time.
What a gorgeous hike. If you want to follow along on our adventures, you can find episodes of Scoreboard and Scoreboard Nation at thescoreboardnation.com. That's all the time we have for today's episode of The Scoreboard. For Maddie Evans, I am Blake O'Rulean, and we will see you all next time.